In this segment of my IGN Unfiltered conversation with legendary game designer Peter Molyneux, he talks about what he's been up to lately at 22 Cans, his new studio, and how mobile gaming has been something of a reawakening for his career. Let's hear about it. You went from heading a game studio, it was hundreds of people with 9-figure budget projects, and at one point were also the head of Microsoft Game Studios in Europe as well. And when you left all that behind, you're now back to, as you say, being a coder. You're making smaller games, smaller teams. I suspect that change of pace had to be completely intentional. Did you really just want to get back to your roots?
Well, like any decision you make big decision you make in life, there's very, very few times there's just one thing.
Sure.
There's lots of weights on us. I always think of these decisions like weights on the scale. Sometimes they're big weights. A big weight for me leaving Microsoft was this, is that at that time, I was in a situation where I was spending a week, a month over in Seattle, and it rains slightly more in Seattle than it does in London. And that's a long time to spend away from your family.
Yeah.
You
had a young son at the time.
I had a young son at the time, and my wife was fantastic and amazing. The understanding it's a long time. So that was a big weight for me on there. What was also a big weight is that, in Lionhead, it was continuing to be big, and being part of Studio Europe and being the creative director in Studio, which was a fascinating job, meant I was further and further away from being what I thought of myself as being a designer. That was another big weight.
Yeah.
Another big weight was Steve Jobs.
Explain, please.
For me, when I saw Pong in that shop, when I was 17 years old, when I saw the iPhone presented by Steve Jobs, it was kind of another moment. And that's when I realized something, Ryan, which has been spinning in my brain now for 4 years. I've had an incredible life. I've been able to work on crazy ideas and work with amazing people. And what I can't be is a coward. I've got to be brave. And being brave means doing the thing that doesn't make sense. And when I saw that phone, when I saw Steve Jobs present that phone, this one thought went in my mind. Everyone can be a gamer.
Yeah.
Everyone can have a game machine in their hand. Every single person on this planet can be a gamer. That was a life-changing moment.
I can understand that.
And I would have loved for the Microsoft Windows phone to be the iPhone, but it just wasn't. And I thought to myself, I have to go, I have to leave, I have to do the brave thing, the brave, crazy thing, because I owe it, in a way, to myself and to the industry to try and make games that this new audience, what that iPhone did is created gamers. It created a whole new audience of gamers. And those gamers thought, up until that point, that games were about chopping people's heads off and murdering people. And now this device has made those people into gamers, but the type of games they're playing are just not very good. They're repetitive, I don't steal people's money, they're very repetitive and they lack innovation.
Yeah.
And so I thought, if I leave, I can focus more on my family, I can do the brave thing and the brave and crazy thing, and I can start a new company up. The first thing I thought was, I've got to realize I know nothing about this world. I know nothing about free-to-play. I know nothing about Kickstarter.
Just like how when you started in
absolutely.
computer game
It felt exactly the same. Yeah. And I felt to myself, the first thing I did was I said, I need to fail first. And that's why I did this crazy thing called Curiosity.
You're segueing beautifully here because you had everybody wondering. It's a game. You're just clicking your way through, and at some point, it's chipping away, chip away. Somebody's going to unlock what's in the center.
Yeah.
Had you decided what was going to be in the center up front?
Yes.
Yes.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. I mean, that wasn't the purpose of the exercise. That was what I said to myself. And this is a very long conversation, Ryan, and most people watching will probably think it's a completely insanity, bullshit, and rubbish. But what fascinated me was, and I actually got people under MRI scans to prove this, what was happening to people's brains when they played these games was different to what happened to gamers' brains when they played them. Gamers, what we want a lot of the time is excitement.
Yeah.
We want to be challenged. We want the sense of accomplishment that games like Fable and GTA and all of that give us. But those games aren't successful on mobile.
Right.
Now here's an interesting thought. You probably saw in the news that Minecraft sold 122 million. 122 million people have played Minecraft. That's
still
incredible,
going.
isn't it?
Yeah.
Still going. How many people do you think have played Pokemon Go? It's been out for almost a year.
I believe, in fact, just today, I believe it's 60 million?
No, it's 640 million people. I mean, Jesus.
That's a lot.
That's the entire population of the Americas.
Yeah.
I mean, crikey, that's amazing. What are those people doing? Why are they playing? And what I've found is a lot of people, and I found this with Curiosity, I found it with Goddess, and I found it with The Trail. A lot of people play mobile games. They don't think of themselves to escape.
Yeah.
They don't want to be challenged. They want to escape. They may want to escape the noise of a crying baby that's upstairs. They may want to escape at lunchtime the tedious work that they're doing. They may want to escape the commute when they go to work. They don't have the time to hold the facts in their mind about where they are on quests and where this person is and where that person is. They just want to enter a world where their brain can go into an alpha state. And that's what the experiment of Curiosity proved. It proved, absolutely. You could give people, and I intentionally made the gameplay as simple as possible. I mean, for Christ's sake, it was just tapping at the screen. But there were some people, thousands of people, that absolutely loved. And we had people, when we closed Curiosity down, we had people come to our office and beg that we give them a cube. They couldn't get to sleep. People couldn't get to sleep. They were using Curiosity to get to sleep. So that experiment was as a designer, I had to work out a completely different way of designing a game. Totally different way of designing.
So at the center was a video of you saying, congratulations, in this case, Brian Henderson. You will be the god in Goddess, your next game. So is that still happening?
Absolutely. Development is still continuing, unbelievably, on Goddess. In fact, there's someone working on it at this very moment in time. Not so much on the Steam Goddess, but on the mobile Goddess. And unfortunately, Goddess it cost quite a lot to develop, and it's still not in profit as much. And I'd love to pay Brian some money out. I'd love it. It would be a wonderful thing for me, but we need, unless I'm doing it, and there has been suggestions to pay him some money just for the PR side, but until the game makes money, we've got a bottom line which we're hoping one day it will make money, and it's still being played. Yesterday I think 35,000 people played Goddess.
And I think wasn't the other part of it, aside from the financial.
Yeah.
Didn't he actually get to help influence gameplay decisions in the world too? Was that
Yes,
part of it?
he came down quite a few times,
Yeah?
and he was quite. He wants to be in music, and I think he wanted to. We offered him to do the music, and I think I might ask him if he wants to do it again. And yeah, I would love to involve him. It would be great to involve him in that. But the game needs to make money, really.
And it's still it's in early access. Is that correct? Or it's
still in Steam Early Access.
Yeah. Okay.
And it's still features are still being developed more slowly on mobile. Yeah.
But it is. I mean, if it's really going back to your populist roots. Really, that's sort of the heart of the game.
Yeah. There's another very long conversation to be had about Kickstarter.
Maybe we'll save that one because
Yeah.
I think I've kept it for a couple
just to
hours.
sum it up, I thought the Kickstarter was the utopian world which every designer would absolutely adore. It turned out to be a complete and utter nightmare. For me, purely for me, I think Kickstarter is one of the most fantastic vehicles, but here's the golden rules. Don't Kickstarter an idea, Kickstarter a product.
Right.
Kickstarter something that people can tangibly touch and play and feel. Don't Kickstarter, we're going to make a remake of the God game genre. Because if you do, this is what happens. You end up with 27,511 people all trying to design the game together. It's hard enough to get 2 people to design a game, let alone 27,000 people.
Yeah.
And so, and the rule is, it's very hard to please all the people all the time, especially when Kickstarter never gives you enough money. You never have enough money.
Sure. Yeah.
By the time you've fulfilled all your pledges, by the time you've paid for development, I mean, it doesn't even pay for a fraction of the overall cost of the game. So I would use Kickstarter again. I would say use Kickstarter again. I love the crowdsourced nature of it, but wait until the end. Don't do it on an idea.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then there was the trail
Yeah.
for mobile as well,
Yeah,
which is out. It's that seems, just hearing you talk about it before we came on the air, I could sense a calmness and a satisfaction about the trail.
Well, the trail within a matter of days, really, the trail was played more times by more people than all of Lionhead's games put together, including Fable.
There's that 600-something million audience.
Yeah, well, it's not quite Pokemon Go, sadly, but it's a fascinating thing, Ryan. It's actually, I think my kind of creative kind of journey into that world is changing a little bit now with a new project I'm working on. But what you're doing is creating a world for people to love for. There's some people that have played the trail every single day since its launch on the 3rd of November. There's this entire, and it really is incredible, tens of thousands of people a day are exploring and navigating and communicating and working together in this entire continent we've created. It's amazing. It's amazing. And every 3 weeks we release new features for those people to love, and sometimes those features are incredible features. We've given them a dog, like the dog in.
I approve.
In Fable, you can train the dog, and you can tell the dog off, and you can walk along the trail, and one person's dog can sniff the butt of another person's dog. I mean, how cool is that? Well, maybe not sniffing butts, but it's an entire universe which people love and enjoy together, and are taking places which are going to be fascinating.
So it sounds to me that you have that really isn't any part of you that wants to go back to AAA big budget game design. You sound happier doing what you're doing.
As I said, in a way, being comfortable is the biggest sin. you know, if we are going to be creative in this industry, and I love and adore this industry to a point which is not very healthy, and then we have to investigate these new areas, whether it's VR, whether it's mobile gaming, and whether it's, you know, showing content to an audience that's never seen that content before. The thing I loved about the trail is these people that enjoy the trail have never explored a world before. They've never done the things that we just take for granted. They've never picked something up. They've never collected these things. And being able to give them that stuff and prove to them that games are more than just another Treasure Clan clone or a Match 3 game. They are truly amazing, and they allow people to create their own worlds, essentially, in their own mind. And you know, I find that just unbelievably enriching. Saying all that, my next game that I'm working on, the first game that I've coded, you know, I'm getting the ideas in the game by coding those games. It's called Legacy. I'm not going to get myself into any trouble by hyping it up at all. Isn't necessarily a free-to-play mobile game.
Okay. Well, that actually segues perfectly into my final question for you, Peter, which you're calling it Legacy.
Yeah.
And you've had a very long and storied career.
Yeah.
Is that the end for you? Is Legacy the end, or do you want to keep making games until you leave this earth?
Yeah, the Legacy, the name wasn't. It was a name that was suggested by somebody else. It originally had a different name, and so don't read anything into it about me.
Fair enough.
I feel reborn. I am now working as hard on Legacy as I've worked on Black and White, as I worked on Populous, as I worked on anything. Fortunately, I've got electronic cigarettes, so I don't have to fill up my ashtray with cigarette butts anymore, but I'm eating pizza and I'm drinking Mountain Dew. So, you know, I feel reborn, and all that fascination and energy that I had around, you know, Black and White and Fable and Dungeon Keeper and Populous, I feel that, and that's an incredible sensation to feel at 57 years old.
That's great. And
I can't wait to get back to my computer and work on the feature that I was working on this morning at 4 o'clock in my hotel room. And that's just what a wonderful feeling to do that. I'm not sure what this game's going to end up being, but I can promise you this, Ryan, you've never seen anything like it.
There you go. Yeah. Peter Molyneux, thank you so much.
Thank you.
It was an absolute pleasure. Peter Molyneux, legendary or renowned game designer, whose career, it seems, is just getting started.
Yeah.
Peter Molyneux, thank you so much.
Thank you very much.
For more from the best, brightest, most fascinating minds in the games industry, be sure to look for new segments every week of IGN Unfiltered and new episodes every month.